All right. What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's going on?
Welcome. The Dads Who Mosh Podcast. I almost said Dads Who Mosh playlist because that's what we were just talking about. This is Nate, a dad who moshes. Oh, sorry. I cut you off.
Oh, I cut you off. No, we're still figuring this whole thing out.
Yeah. Nate, Jesse. I think at one point, like my wife called me, said something like mosh daddies or something like that. And I was like,
oh, no.
I don't know that. Have you seen those memes of like wives calling their husband daddy in front of their kids and like getting the reaction?
Oh yeah, it's so funny.
It's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's always the teenagers, right? They're like giving that crazy look.
Yeah, exactly. But welcome everybody. Glad to have you guys. How was the week, man? I feel like it's been a while. I mean, I feel like a lot has happened in my life in the last week. So, but how was your week? It's been a while since we hung out.
Oh, yeah. It's been good. I mean, I said this last time. I'll say this probably every week. We're in the middle of the sports grind. Yep. All three kids, 3 different sports, 3 different days. Weekends are just completely taken. So, but it's been really good. Also, we've talked about this, I think the first time I was on the podcast, but I'm working on my master's degree and it is a grind, man. I'm right in the second half of the semester. We've got a midterm on Monday. And I can't tell you how it's kind of embarrassing as a 38-year-old to complain about a midterm. But dude, it is so I'm just over it. I'm so over it, man. Yeah. And I'm on this group project with a couple of 20-something-year-olds, and it's due. One of the parts of the project is due today. All my stuff has been done. None of their stuff has been done. Yeah. And I am stressed out because it's due in a couple of hours, Yeah. I don't know. Man. I'm just so over it. I'm at that point where I question everything. Why am I doing this? Should I do this?
Right. Dude, I hear that. I remember being in when I was working on my master's. Same deal, man. I mean, a bunch of young, I call them kids, Yeah. But it's people that are younger than I was, same deal. And people are always asking, how do you do it? How do you do it with a wife and kids and work and all this stuff? It's that actually kind of forces you to do it. I can't just mess around with this, man. I got to get this done. I got to take my kids to practice, whatever it is. So, yeah, man. I mean, kudos to you. I know it's not easy. It's a grind for sure.
No. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just so ready for it to be over. And I'm at that time. I was just telling my wife this. I'm trying to figure out, do I do summer school to help speed it up a bit? Do I take it off? And it's the worst possible time for them to ask me if I want to do summer school right now. I've got a midterm. I've got projects. Summer school is the last thing I want to sign up for right now. But of course, I have to do it this week. But when my whole program takes an extra year because I didn't do summer school, I'm why didn't I sign? Anyway,
man,
I'm just so over it, man.
I know. I hear you.
What about you? You had a busy week.
Yeah. So this is our last week of spring break for the kids. So we went to Disney, and it was the first time I'd ever been to Disney. It was.
Is it really?
Yeah. It was awesome. That's what it was. Really, it was special for me. I can never bring myself to be a Disney adult. All right. I'm not going to be that guy, but I will say I had so much fun. I never as a kid. I mean, we never had the money to go to Disney when I was growing up. We had money to go to the park. So it's watching all my friends growing up talking about Disney, even now, anytime I tell an adult, it was my first time at Disney, they're like, what? Same reaction kind of. So it was really cool. I don't know. It was a good dad moment. It made me feel good. We're at this point in life where it's I was able to build this life where I can take my kids to Disney. But I just I nerded out so hard. My wife was like, are you crying? I was like, no, I'm not crying. But I'm such a Star Wars nerd too. I could just if I could live at the galaxy's edge, I would live there, man. It's so cool. So that was really cool for me, man. We had a ton of fun. It was spring break, so like the lines were super long. I had no idea what to expect. I just knew it was busy. And I think that's why, like, for a long time, I was like, I didn't go to Disney when I was a kid. Why would I go as an adult? Like, I don't want to stand in line. That's just what I expected. So I'm just like, this is what I expected. But I guess it was like some like record waits in some lines. So I was like, oh, well, if we could do it during spring break, we could handle Disney, whenever.
Sure.
So that was cool, man. Super hot. It was like record-breaking lines, record-breaking heat in Southern California. Man, that was brutal. We just left the desert, and it's like, it's humid in Anaheim. So, there was a couple lines where I was like, dude, this is brutal, man. Take me back to the desert with the dry heat. But, it was awesome.
As a SoCal native, and then now back living here, Disneyland is such a staple for everybody down here. Everyone makes fun of Disney adults, but everyone down here is a Disney adult. It's just it's cool. Like, and there's a lot of like hardcore bands that like love Disney and they go and the Anaheim scene. It's cool down here. It's not a big deal. And it's kind of like a part of life when you're in Southern California. When you're in Montana, you go to state parks. When you're in Southern California, you go to theme parks.
It's true. That's a good
way
point.
of life down here.
Yeah.
But funny enough, so my wife loves Disneyland. She's got and we've got like local like SoCal passes, which is super blacked out, but we can go when like other people can't go.
Yeah.
And she's always keeping an eye on lines and stuff. And she was saying this week, she has a friend also from Arizona, also on spring break, and they were at Disney and they were saying it's like record breaking heat, record breaking lines. So you hit the pinnacle there.
I guess so. Yeah, like I said, it's all downhill from here. If we could handle it, this time around, we'll be good. You got a March Madness bracket going?
I do. What about you?
I do. I mean, it was looking pretty good until North Carolina lost, and then
no.
Yeah.
Did you have them going far?
No. I think I had them like 2 rounds, and that was it. So they lost a little early for me. But how about yours?
Did you see Duke almost get upset?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And that's like for me. Not to get too into like the sports thing, but it's like that one would have been like, it would have sucked for my bracket because I had them Final Four, but I was like, I'm always going to be happy because obviously like we're big, University of Arizona fans here. Yeah. Like they've got some amazing freshmen. Koa Pete, his brother teaches at my kid's school. Like, we're huge U of A fans. And so, I mean, that would have been.
Did you take them to win it?
I did,
Homer
and it's
pick?
like I did, and I feel like it's like I don't know. It's biased, obviously,
for sure,
but also I'm like they could do it,
Absolutely.
So I mean, if Duke is almost getting beat out, by a 16 seed, I think Arizona has a good chance. So.
Yeah, that's one of those very possible homer picks. Yeah. It's not like taking Montana Grizzlies to win the
exactly.
whole thing,
We're going to take the whole thing. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I do. Yeah. I love college basketball. I love college football.
Yes, me too.
I feel like we're heading into like this lull in sports. I mean, the NBA is around, which is fine. Baseball is starting up. Yeah, we're going to go to a spring training game tonight, which got pushed to the evening because it's like 105 degrees here. Yeah, but then it's like the NBA finals and the NFL draft is over, and then you've got like July and August, and then NFL preseason. I don't know, like, what do you watch during July and August? Like, what is on to watch during July and August? I don't know, but
I'm with you. I mean, I'm watching sports year round, and you get to that certain part where you're like, what do I? Yeah,
exactly.
But luckily, we have the sun's out, hit the beach.
Yeah, so. There you go. Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Also, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. Saw the news today.
I saw that. That's crazy.
Yeah. My family grew up. I grew up watching Walker, Texas Rangers. So
who didn't?
Exactly. So that was that was the funny. My brother sent like our family group chat today, like a GIF of like the intro to Walker, Texas Ranger, where it's like, him standing against like the Dallas skyline, his trench coat or his duster, it just says Chuck Norris. And he was like, I think Chuck Norris is going to replace St. Peter at the gates of heaven now. I was like, how funny would it be like if that's what happened? You get to the gates and it's just like even his name appears in front of you, just Chuck Norris.
Yes.
But,
yes.
Yeah. I watched, there was somebody posted a clip about him. He was showing some interview, a picture of him next to a tiger. And, he was telling this backstory, Chuck Norris was, and he said, I was petting the tiger, the trainer was there, and all of a sudden, the tiger starts to growl. He said the trainer says, okay, stand up and walk away very slowly. And he said, and then the tiger got up and backed away slowly. And that was like Chuck Norris telling his own Chuck Norris joke. I was like, that's amazing.
So good.
Yeah, so good. So, yeah,
R.I.P.
Yeah, a lot of our childhood, I feel like, millennial childhood icons they're starting to go, man. It's weird.
It's such a weird thing. Is there any other indicator that we're getting old than when you see that? It's the worst.
I know. It's like one moment I'm looking over and my 15-year-old has a mustache, and then it's like Chuck Norris dies. It's like, what's happening? This is weird.
It's weird.
But hey, bands, we think you guys should know this week. The one that I chose is a band called Holder, who is signed to Days Records. If you are fans of bands like Balmora, On Broken Wings, The Bled, the more I was listening to Holder, the more it just like they have these connotations of that kind of old, almost like math core. So it's like almost like I don't know if you ever listened to the Number 12 Looks Like You. They kind of sound like that, and some Fear Before the March of Flames. Just like, really cool. And I feel like, a lot of the bands we come up with are kind of that gritty early 2000s metalcore, but it's like, we love it, man. It's so good. They're from the East Coast. So, like I said, Days Records, East Coast. So, a lot of those, just like East Coast nastiness, that grindy sound. Again, just bringing back that unpolished sound of early 2000s metalcore. They're going to be playing Sound and Fury, so I'm excited to see them at Sound and Fury. They're going on tour with Balmora in June. And so, yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Holder, go check out Holder. They've got an EP, and then I think they've got an LP that they just released either early this year or like late 2025. But yeah, super cool sound. Go check out Holder for sure.
Yeah, I love this pick. I wasn't super familiar, but when I was looking through the Sound and Fury announcement, they jumped out and it's like, I think I've heard these guys. Put them in the rotation. Super good. They're in that sound that we've been talking a lot about lately. That like early 2000s metalcore, not quite hardcore. It has that old sound, and I love it.
Well, and what's funny too is the choice that you made today actually, or that came up. Like if you listen to Holder Radio, your choice is definitely on Holder Radio on Spotify. So,
oh yeah. So my choice this week. Really excited to find this band. It's in that same genre. It's in that same area. This band is called With Paper Wings. First off, the thing I love about this is they do the old like Sky Came Falling thing where it's all lowercase. There's no space in between it, and they're named after a Sky Came Falling song. So obviously they've got that sound. They're going for that. Major influences there. If you like Sky Came Falling, this is just a really natural fit. Young guys from Orlando. So shout out Orlando hardcore in the scene there. And this is one of those bands where if you close your eyes and take a second, you can just see your MySpace top 8. Like it sounds like you are early 2000s setting your top 8. This is a song that I literally would have in my background on my MySpace page. But they came out last year. So
awesome.
They're aggressive, high energy. They've got that rapid fire, just the shrieks, like the blood curdling shrieks. I love it. I love it so much. And so I went down this rabbit trail, okay, because you picked Holder, I picked With Paper Wings. I've been trying to put my finger on. I think last week's episode, what is this called?
Yes,
what is the internet going to call this? And so I put on my investigative journalism hat and I went down a deep dive. Okay. So like cue the podcast music where they're like, and there I was in the back alley. Okay.
Yeah.
So have you ever heard of the term revival core?
I have not. When I saw the notes for this episode, I saw that, but I was like, I feel like it makes sense. If it's going in the direction that I think it is, like that definitely makes sense.
Okay, so I had not heard of this either, and as I was like doing a deep dive, one of the things that jumped out of how they categorized With Paper Wings was revival core. So then I start searching the internet, and I find an entire a subreddit r/revival core. As you go into revival core, it's all about modern metalcore bands that sound like they're straight out of the late 90s, early 2000s. It's exactly the sound I love. Just pump it straight into my veins. It's so good. And it's those bands that we've been on, like Balmora, Contention, that we keep talking about, Ends in Tragedy. It's all those. They just sound like they're straight out of early 2000s.
Yeah.
It's so good.
No, I love that. And it reminds me too, like, bands like this, I was listening to Sanction the other day, and Sanction is one of those bands where same deal. I was listening to them. I was like, did I miss these guys in like 2005? But then I saw a picture of them like, you are children. Like these are like 19, 20-year-old kids playing this music. And I love it. And when you watch, I don't know, that's the thing that I really love this about like the hardcore scene.
Yeah.
Is there is such a like healthy respect for like their elders, for the people. I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Maybe I saw this one band, young band, covered Old Norma Jean. Memphis Will Be Laid to Waste, cover Old Norma Jean. I'm like, I love that. It's like they've got such a healthy respect for like the old heads, but then it's like the old heads really appreciate them too. And you've got, these older bands where you've got like these 19-year-olds that are, moshing to, whatever it is, Poison the Well or On Broken Wings, dude. Like On Broken Wings, when we saw those guys at Furnace Fest, the crowd, aside from a couple of like older dudes like us, like there was a lot of young kids, man. So I think that's cool. I love the term revival core. I'm going to go search up that subreddit immediately and build a playlist off of it. I love that. I love it.
It's so good. And exactly. I think it's such a good way to like pin down exactly what we've been trying to say, because and they even in kind of like digging into this term, they called out exactly what we said, which is the early 2000s metalcore had a sound, and then that like 2010s metalcore had a totally different sound.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what it is. It's like groovy, melodic, less heavy. I don't know the technical term for less heavy,
Yeah. Well, and when I was listening to Holder this week, I was trying to like put my finger on, I was like, who do they sound like? And like for a second, I was like, they kind of sound like the Devil Wears Prada first album, that beautiful Discord album. I was like, some of it sounds like that. And I feel like that's a good example. That's like the Devil Wears Prada, when they first came out, they fell right into that early 2000s sound, and they had some clean vocals, in there and stuff too. But On Broken Wings did clean vocals. Some of these bands do clean vocals. Poison the Well did clean vocals, know, and they, it's a cool sound. But then it's like it's like if you want to like trace the history of metalcore, follow the Devil Wears Prada. And then they turned into like the crabcore, and there's like the crabcore influence.
That's right.
And then like more of like the big emo boom, I think, really played into what some of these bands did. And so now it's like modern metalcore sounds very different from what metalcore started off sounding like. And I appreciate this renaissance of like the old like historic metalcore sound that's happening. It's very cool.
Yeah. Also, the other term that kind of kept coming up is what's the record label that Balmora is on and they put on Hellfest?
We talked about it at one point too.
I know. But it's
I'm gonna find out.
It's that record label is kind of putting out
Yes.
that sound, and that record label is kind of reviving that sound almost single-handedly.
Yes.
So, anyways, I'm with you. I dig it.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, in addition, this isn't the one that, or is it? It's not. Is Balmora's not on Days? Are they?
No, it's not Days. It's oh man, I don't know.
Is it Ephira?
Yeah. Yes.
You and I'm just stealing that from you because you talked about that when you were talking about like Balmora's new vocalists and stuff like that. So
that's right. Yeah. I just drew such a blank there, but yeah, and they're kind of putting out that sound and they're like bringing back the sound. But
yeah,
it's so
awesome. Awesome. I love it. A topic that, and actually like with the whole like Dads Who Mosh title, I think one of the things that I, was hesitant on is even the term moshing. All right. We're getting into like, the really specifics here. This is more like, hardcore 201 maybe. And this is a discussion that came up, like, in social media posts and things like that. Just the idea of moshing. What is moshing? And this kind of leads into another, topic that a question here I was going to ask. But, different types of moshing. I said a while back, like this, really elitist, snobby phrase that I still hold to because I kind of am an elitist when it comes to this. I said something like, you either die a hardcore band or you live long enough to have push moshing at your shows. And that came after watching Kublai Khan and Drain and Gideon play at the Marquee Theater. And Drain is still very true to like their hardcore roots. I think if Drain could choose, they'd have small, stages, no barriers for the rest of their life. I really believe that. But that show was so big and Kublai Khan is so big that I went into the pit and I was like, dude, I'm out of here because the only thing that's happening is there's a bunch of drunk, sweaty 45-year-old men in here that are just pushing and shoving each other, and I'm not into that. And I know there's like a debate, right? There's a debate between like push moshing and like actual hardcore dancing. And I feel like that's the misconception a lot of times as people hear mosh, they just think push shoving. And what's funny is I've been so far on the other end of the spectrum for so long, just like hardcore dancing, two-step, all of that stuff. That's what I prefer. But like there's a huge group of people that are into heavy music that really love push moshing and they hate hardcore dancing. I think I forget that sometimes, until I run into somebody that's like, that's not moshing, But I don't know. I don't know if you've got some thoughts on that, but that was something that came up this last week on one of our social media posts.
Yeah, it is funny because I think everyone has in their mind what they think moshing is.
Yeah.
And you can say that about a lot of different things. You could say that about the heavy music. What is heavy music to one person versus somebody else? What is hardcore music to someone who doesn't listen to hardcore music?
Yep.
I was talking to a guy at the gym and he was asking what I was listening to. I was like, oh, it's like a hardcore band, kind of like fishing for, do you know what this is? And he's like, oh, you mean like thrash metal? Like, or, you hear people like, oh, you listen to Screamo? Like, okay, buddy, but so anyways, I got off topic there, but when it comes to moshing, it is, there's so many different, it's an interesting thing. I had a very similar experience. Me and my buddy Marco, we went and saw, it was Norma Jean opened and POD headlines. Oh, and do you know the band Bad Wolves?
Oh yeah,
they're like radio rock, dad rock. They remade 100%. That zombie song.
That's right.
That, like, blew up.
Yep.
And so weird. You had this Norma Jean like subset of fans, and then I love POD. Shout out POD. Total dad rock though these days.
Oh yeah.
And so this crowd is crazy. So Norma Jean opens up, and there's no pit. and Marco and I are like, we're gonna pit for Norm and Gene.
Yeah.
So we go and we open it, like we like push off of each other to create this pit. We pissed off so many 40-year-old dads. We spilled so many beers. Yeah. I mean, we were daggers for eyes, and we started swinging and jumping around. They were so offended by our presence there. You know,
weird.
They just wanted to jump around and So it is
weird.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, I think I don't think about it until you're at a show. You're like, what's going on? Same thing. Like I remember years ago, I saw Deftones, and Dillinger Escape Plan open for Deftones. And I went down, and this was like in Seattle. I went down and nobody's doing anything and I was like, I lived in Montana at the time. I was all like kind of nervous, like, oh, I'm going to go like, I'm going to go to a show in a big city, and like nobody's doing anything. And it's almost like the different genres of heavy music. There's different, you've got like the more like heavy metal, hard rock, where it's like everyone just wants to push and shove. Or you've got like the actual like thrash, like hair metal guys, and all they want to do is just like swing their hair around and stuff like that, which is totally fine. But then, you've got, like at hardcore shows, there's just, and I don't know, I think to me, again, and I'm biased, it's more a buddy of mine the other day who like loves soccer basically used this phrase, and I can't watch soccer. I can't get into it. I've tried so much and whatever.
I have too.
So, I mean, the whole world loves soccer, but totally. And I can't get into it. And I was telling him that, he's like, yeah, it's a little, I can't remember exactly, but he was just like, it's a little more sophisticated. You know? So I'm just like, dude, shut up. Like, you're not cooler than I am because, you watch soccer. But I kind of feel that way when it comes to like hardcore dancing. I'm like, push moshing is kind of like, it's like Neanderthal. It's like, it's not, it doesn't take a lot, but at the same time, if somebody is at a hardcore show, and because I've been that guy that goes in there and I'm so excited. I've like no rhythm. I'm tripping over myself because, it's like I look like an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's like, it's whatever. If you're at a hardcore show and you're having fun shoving into people, cool. If you're having fun two-stepping, circle pits, cool. Swinging your arms, cool. I just think it's like when you get to the point where like people are so elitist that they're just like, don't do that. Don't do that around me. That's annoying.
Yeah, it is. It goes both ways. I've been at the like kind of deathcore show. Yeah. And those guys hate two-steppers. Yes. They really like, what are these idiots doing? Yeah. Yeah. And they think they're so cool with their push pits and their circle pits. Yeah. And then the hardcore guys obviously all have a chip on their shoulder of like, they're hardcore and they're crowd surfing and they're like crowd killing. And, so I don't know. I think everybody needs to calm down a little bit. It's like, we're all here to have fun, get away from real life for a little bit. Yeah. That's the take of the old heads here, I guess. Yeah, I think so too. It's okay to have that opinion, I think, and have a preference, because there's always going to be shows that like you love more than other ones. And for me, it's the shows where everybody's on the same page, same kind of like style in the pit, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And maybe other shows like maybe you just need to take a step back and enjoy it. Well, and to me, it's so interesting, again, getting into the nerdy nitty gritty of how different a crowd and a pit and a vibe can be all within this heavy music scene. Yeah. So, we go to Furnace Fest, and you've got everywhere from Midwest emo to Knocked Loose and Terror and everything in between, and even just stage to stage, it's different vibes, different feel, different style. So it's cool for sure. Well, and kind of moving from that into this next one, I was set a while back. Last week we were talking about how guys like sometimes we got to put ourselves out there, got to meet, friends and stuff like that.
I've been going to these, workout classes, end up meeting like 3 or 4 dudes there that like the same kind of music. And it's the same kind of a thing. They're like, oh, you like heavy stuff, and then like, someone will be like, oh yeah, like one guy is really into like deathcore, which is awesome. I'm just like, whatever. I'll go to a deathcore show, with you, dude, for sure. This one kid though, I say kid, he's like, 20 something. This one guy, this dad, he's not a dad, he's a husband, but this one guy is going to come with me to that Varial show on the 25th.
Nice.
He's like, first, right off the bat, he's like, I've only been to one concert. So it's like, even there, you want to get really nerdy. There's a difference between concerts and shows, right?
For sure.
So he's like, I've been to one concert my entire life. And he's like, he was Bring Me the Horizon. And I'm like, okay, like, that's at least like you can kind of pinpoint.
Ballpark.
Yeah, you can kind of pinpoint where he's at. It's like, okay. But, going to a Bring Me the Horizon concert with visuals and pyrotechnics and a big stage and big production and stuff like that you just sit back and watch, it's going to be very different from going to like a beatdown hardcore show at the Nile in Mesa. And so, it's going to be his first time. So if you, and maybe you have, in the past, if you have ever brought somebody to their first hardcore show, or if you were bringing someone to their hardcore show, what's some advice? If you've never been to a hardcore show, what are advice for people that are trying it out for the first time ever?
Oh, man. The most recent one I can think of is our dad friend group. We have this guy named Oscar, and we took him to his first ever hardcore show. He's a big gym guy. He loves like gym core. He's just always got heavy music, and he'd gotten into heavy music by, what he listens to in the gym. And so we take him to his first show. I'm pretty sure this one, it was August Burns Red.
Okay.
And it was at like a bigger venue, House of Blues in Anaheim, but like, the like good sized pit. Oh man, he had no idea what to expect. And, our advice to him was just enjoy it, just have fun. And we were telling him about kind of these different, archetypes of people who enjoy shows. I'm a front row kind of guy. I love getting up in the front. I like getting as close as I can in the action, helping people stage dive, helping lift people up there. And then I'll kind of back off into the pit. Then you have other people that love like that supporting role, right? Where like someone falls over, they want to be the first person to help them up. They're kind of like keeping the kids out of the pit. They're like protecting. We were kind of like, just show up, have fun, like watch out. Like if you get close to the pit, like if you get hit, it's nothing personal. That's how it is. And just kind of, also pace yourself. That's one thing. Pace yourself. You can burn out in the first set very easily.
That like pace yourself is a big one for me, especially the older I get, because I will go all out, man. I have to be so much more strategic now and be like, okay, I'm gonna sit this band out. I have to, or at least maybe I'll go in for like 1 or 2 songs or whatever.
Yes.
No, and I think that's good advice too, because I love it. We talked about last week, like a lot of people are getting into heavy music now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I think I've given to people in the past is like if you're hesitant at all, just hang back. Like people will leave you alone. Like you said, if you get run into or hit, like it's not on purpose. Like people are totally fine with you just sitting back and relaxing it. You don't feel pressured to get into the pit. But if you do, you just have to go all out. The thing is, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to like get the moves down. You don't have to look great. Like if you're going all out, nobody cares. Everyone's just like happy that you're having a good time. Don't be intimidated. But that's kind of what it is. You can't just like go in and be like, it's like that's when you're going to get laid out. And it's not going to be on purpose, but you're just going to be like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's like if you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to stage dive, get up there and you just got to jump off the stage. I think that drives me nuts when you go to shows, and I can't remember, somebody posted, it was a smaller band posted something. They went to a show and some guy jumped up on stage and then just like filmed himself the entire, like for like 20 minutes and nobody did anything about it. And you see guys that like get up on stage and they kind of like punk out right before they, stage dive, and they just kind of like, jump off. It's like, don't do that. Yeah. You just got to go all out. Like you just got to go for it. And and that's it. That's like all that. Yeah. And that's all that it takes to like make friends at a hardcore show. Just go all out. Don't hold back. Go all out.
The other thing is the pit and, the whole show, the pit, the stage, whatever, is very self-policing. When you have guys that are acting crazy out there trying to hurt somebody, they usually get taken care of.
Yep.
Exactly. And I don't mean that in any sort of like weird like mafia intimidation way. I just mean that there's like the majority of people that are there to like intentionally hurt somebody, to like the people that are there to have like a good time and look out for each other, is so big that like it's very self-policing. Someone who's acting like that is going to get tossed. People are going to help toss him out the door. Yeah. And it happens. Like you get hit on accident, but everyone's there to have a good time. Yeah. That's part of it. You're in the moment. I love it. I'm itching, by the way.
Man,
I still don't have one until April, and I like keep checking the calendar. I need to go to something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny you say that too, because I'm just like, the more we talk about it, the more like I got to get to a show. Next week, I got 5 days until I go see Burials, and I'm like, even with Burials, like I'm kind of like could take them or leave them kind of a thing. Totally. They're not reinventing the wheel at all, but it's just they're heavy. I'm excited to see them and just like go hang out with my people again. So,
yeah. Cool. Let's talk about some hardcore news.
Yeah.
So, I was kind of poking around, seeing what's going on the socials, seeing what's going on in the different, hardcore blogs and stuff. I saw this really interesting one. It said that vinyl sales passed the $1 billion mark in 2025. And this is the first time since 1983.
Wild.
So my first question is, though, did they really sell $1 billion worth of vinyls in 1983? Like, that seems like an absurd number.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that is true. Like, how many people are buying? But it's like if that's the only media you have.
Is that inflation? Is that like calculated for inflation? Or I don't know. I saw
that's
that.
A good question.
And at first I was like, okay, like that's crazy. And then I was like, did they really sell $1 billion back then? But anyways.
That's a good point.
But I know that's my like, developer mind at it again. But let's assume it's accurate. I also believe that vinyl sales have taken off because it's crazy. Everybody's doing vinyl.
Yep.
Everyone's collecting vinyl. They've got these different versions. So I wanted to ask you, I have not gotten on the vinyl hype wagon. I get it. I see it, especially when I have my very favorite bands that put something out. I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool, collectible. I know that they'll do limited presses for different, like a Furnace Fest. They do like a limited press, and so it's kind of a it's like getting a T-shirt.
Yep.
So here's my question. Honestly, do you listen to them, or are you just collecting them? And I'm okay with either. There's no judgment here. But are you like sitting around your house listening to vinyl?
For a while, so I've done both. So for a while, I just collected them, and it's like I buy them, but like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, I don't even have a record player to listen to this. And then at one point, I got for Christmas or something like that. Somebody gave me a record player, but it was like a cheaper one. It never worked. I had like 2 albums that I could listen to. So just recently, I like in my room / office now at our house, I got a little table set. I got an actual like good record player with some speakers. I listen to my records all the time now. And so and I do it while I'm working, because I'm always listening to music while I'm working. And what I love, and it's kind of like a few things have kind of fueled like my, new obsession with vinyl, is I'm really trying to get back to listening to albums start to finish, not just like, because for so long it's like someone would be like, listen to Holder. So I'd be like, okay, cool. I'll put, Holder radio on Spotify, because I want to find all the bands out there that sound like these guys. And I feel like after a while I was like, no, I want to go back to the days of like, I like this one song that this band put out. I went to Sam Goody. I put the headphones on. I listened to like a couple tracks. I'm going to spend $16 on the CD, and hopefully it doesn't suck. And a lot of times it did. But, it's like I want to go back to that. So it's like that plus like finally having a good setup. I do. I listen to the vinyl records a lot now. I'm not enough of like, an audio nerd to be like, oh, well, this sounds better or anything like that.
Totally.
It's just a cool way, now it's like I like listening to albums start to finish. And then it's like I like buying the merch. I like the limited edition stuff. I like supporting the bands that way. So yes, I have done both. I've just bought them just for the sake of buying them. I mean, I had a stack of records for a while that were just sitting in their sleeves. I was like, I've never even listened to any of these. I
like genuinely, there was no hate on that because I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, it is kind of a cool way to commemorate, like especially a certain album or a certain like kind of time for this, and and it'd be really cool to have like Furnace Fest exclusive stuff. So I dig it. I can't think of any time I would like sit around and listen to a record myself. But so yeah, I was curious about that. Also, I saw this, I don't know, Instagram videos, someone sent to me, and it was these kids. It was a commentary of some of the crazy stuff we do nowadays and compared to the 90s. And it was this kid listening to his cassette player, and he looks at the camera and he says, "You mean someday I'm not going to own any music? I'm just going to pay a monthly fee to listen to it. And if I stop paying, it all goes away." It's like, dang, that
is wild. That's a really interesting way of thinking about it. Well, and I think, I would assume part of like this recent boom too, because I was talking with my 15-year-old, and he was like, he's like, a lot of kids now, he's like, not just records, but it's like they buy CDs. A lot of bands are bringing back cassettes. Part of me is almost like, I kind of want to get back into cassettes. So that was fun, because I used to have a killer CD collection, man, and I don't even know what happened to it.
I think binder, the big
yes.
Yeah, me too.
Well, and then like I loved, and see, that's part of it too, and that's something I forgot about until I started getting back into vinyl. It's like I love the album artwork. I mean, even think about that. People put so much creative energy into this album artwork, and nobody sees it. They see the cover, and that's it. Like I remember Psycho Frame I don't think it was actually nominated, but they submitted their album for consideration for a Grammy for like album art, and it's sick, dude. Like it's so cool, and so many people, like Norma Jean was nominated at one point in their career for a Grammy for like that album art is so cool, and like nobody sees that anymore. And then it's like the lyrics, and I remember like when I was young, I would read through like every person like that each band member would thank the bands. That's how I got band recommendations, is like we want to thank the following bands, and that's how I got band recommendations back in the day. So it is cool.
Absolutely. There was so I grew up in a tiny little town, Northern California. It's called Weed, California. Yes, the jokes write themselves. But our claim to fame is that in the Sublime album, the one with the Dalmatian dog, in the album artwork, like you flip through, there's a picture of the band Sublime standing under the like the Weed California sign. And everybody in the city of Weed is like, yeah, we're in the album cover. Like we're
amazing.
In the little flip book. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I mean, it's I guess that's to boil it down, a little bit of both. Yes, a little bit of the hype, but also it is fun. But I wouldn't, if I like working from home, if nobody's home, that's the only time that I really do it. Or if I'm like cleaning the house or cleaning the upstairs or something like that, and I'm close enough to actually hear it. But
that's cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me jump into the next one. I saw this one. This is maybe silly. But so Evergreen Terrace is bringing back their old drummer, Brad Moxie. So normally drummers don't get a lot of attention, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, I have no idea who the drummer is for most bands. But he kind of went on like a social media rant and said, "Hey, like, what the heck? I was your drummer, and you're just bringing back your old drummer." He even texts them, hey, when are we practicing for the next tour? And they're like, "Oh, LOL, JK, not going on tour. We're bringing back our old guy." So he kind of went on there, a little bit of drama, We like to talk about the real.
We do.
Housewives of
That's right. That's
hardcore
right.
Music here.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure, it is fine.
You put here in the notes. I feel like everyone can switch drummer and nobody notices. It's like
I know. I don't mean for drummers to catch strays, but
yeah, unless it's like you've got like the Matt Greiners out there.
Oh, sure, for sure.
There's a few other bands obviously where it's like their drummers are these iconic drummers, but yeah,
Travis
it's like the drummer.
Barker.
Oh yeah. It's like them or like the bass player. It's like you could swap the bass player in and out, and it's like the only reason you notice something, you're like, I thought like, I don't know, this picture of the band looks a little bit different. What's different here? And it's the bass player is gone.
Sorry, drummers.
I know. Sorry, drummers. I have all these ambitions, right? In my old age, I'd love to learn how to play drums someday.
Sick.
But I just this morning saw this post. Josh Scoggin, we were talking about this last week, how 68 announced that they were going on their farewell tour. Right. The week before that, or maybe 2 weeks before that, we were talking about how Better Lovers was parting ways with their vocalist, Greg. And so, of course, like all the rumor boards were how, is Josh from the Chariot or 68, is he going to join? And then, 68 announced their farewell tour. And so apparently it really, like the rumors really heated up to the point where Josh Scoggin felt like he had to write out an explanation and post it on social media where he confirmed that he will not be joining Better Lovers. So that must have been the consensus. I mean, and I'm sure it makes sense. Better Lovers, it needs a new vocalist. Couple weeks later, 68 announces. Right. Although I will say, like, as a fan of Josh Scoggin, he has never come across as the kind of guy to be like, hey, I'm going to break up with this band so I can go with this one because they're a little bit bigger than I am. He's just never come across. And that's kind of what, his message was. One thing I love that he said, I don't join bands, I start them, which he does. I mean, obviously, Norma Jean started off as Ludacris back in the day, made one album with them, bounced, made the Chariot, so he's responsible for two of the most iconic early 2000s metalcore bands out there, most influential ones. 68, I think while I never really got into 68, it was just different. Still, he's such a staple in the scene. So, again, I hope he still makes music. He did in the post said, I've got some other things I'm going to be working on. I hope he still makes music. It would be sad to, like I think I said a couple weeks ago, it'd be sad to have a heavy music world where Josh Scoggin is not making new music. So, we'll see what happens. We'll continue tracking this story as it develops here at Dads Who Mosh. Exactly.
What I thought was hilarious about his post and also awesome is he physically wrote it on note paper and at the very end said, "This is not generated by AI."
Yeah.
I think in this.
That's such a Josh Scoggin thing to do.
Yeah.
Like I have hand signed CDs, like I have hand signed, like they back in the day when bands, this is one thing. Okay, if we're bringing back vinyl, CDs, and cassettes, please bring back like the behind the scenes DVDs that used to come out.
Yeah,
I would watch those on repeat, dude. Like the Hot Damn one from Every Time I Die. The Chariot put one out back in those days. I mean, it just was so cool. So people need to bring that back for sure.
Did you ever have any CDs that were enhanced CDs and you could put them in your computer and they had software hiding on them?
I did. Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
It was the craziest thing. I have too. I don't know what band or who did it, but I remember putting it into my computer and it downloaded software. And it had some kind of interactive. And then also that same disc you put in your car and played,
Yep. I do remember one for sure. This was when I was a bit younger. I bought Linkin Park's There was
a big Linkin Park fan too.
I was too, like that. Yeah, those first couple albums, because I mean that's how like I got into heavy music, was like I was listening to these bands, like these new metal bands on the radio. Like I listened to a lot of Linkin Park, a lot of Deftones, like Korn, Chevelle. Like I was really into those bands. I always wanted them to be a bit heavier, but I was like, at least there's something on the radio I can listen to. And so I listened to Linkin Park. I got their Reanimation CD and I put it in because I literally went, and there's memes about this. I was at like I would put music in, pull up the Windows Media Player visualizer and just like stare into like the acid trip that those visualizations were and listen to music. But yeah, I did that. I put it in, and then like, this menu came up and you could watch a music video and sign up for their, email list or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Linkin Park, System of a Down.
Yes, dude, I loved still love System of a Down.
Yeah, totally.
I was thinking we'll have to maybe put this on here. I feel like all hardcore fans, like there's like their guilty pleasure bands. It's like they can't tell everybody that they listen to.
Yes.
It's like we should have a guilty pleasure portion on this podcast.
I put that in the notes for
Did you? That's
a future
hilarious.
of like some kind of, what's your guilty pleasure non-hardcore band? Yeah,
100%. Yeah, no, that's great. What about some new music out? It's Friday, New Music Friday.
That's right.
I mean, you got a big one here.
Man, I have I have such mixed feelings. So, okay, I'll get right to it. Poison the Well, probably my favorite band of all time. I can listen to Opposite December on repeat without getting bored. They put out their brand new album, Peace on Place, and I'm underwhelmed. I don't know. Nothing jumps out. It all sounds similar to kind of like the single they put in, Thoroughbreds, and I don't know what it is. I gave it a good 1 through, and I kind of came back and I tried to listen to some others that I thought I kind of like. Have you ever had that? Like
100%.
Man, I love these guys. I cannot bring myself to say anything bad, but like the album just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, and there's so much anguish in your voice right now. I get it. I get it.
And I hope it blows up and they do well and they make millions. But I just didn't. I just didn't love it. I didn't love it.
Yeah. It's Attack of the Clone syndrome is what I call it. I remember, I said at the beginning, I was a huge Star Wars fan growing up as a kid. I used to watch like the original trilogy, especially in the summertime, like my brothers and I would go outside to play. When it got dark, we would just, wherever we left off, we'd press play on the VCR, watch more, and then just flip them in and out. We watched it so much. And I remember the new, episode 1 came out. I was younger, I was like 12 or 13 when episode 1 came out. I was just excited. The movie is not that great, but it's like I was just excited to have new Star Wars. But then I remember a couple of years later, Attack of the Clones came out, and I'm sitting in the theater so excited. And I remember like for the first time ever watching a Star Wars movie, I was like, does this suck? Like, is this do I hate this movie? And that's how I know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Oh yeah. So Knocked Loose, I talked about Knocked Loose last week. I remember when their Different Shade of Blue album came out, and I was so hyped on like their previous ones, like their Split EP. I was so hyped on their Pop Culture EP. Their first full length was Laugh Tracks. I listened to that album so many times, and then A Different Shade of Blue came out. I remember listening to it start to finish and just be like, does this suck? Like, does this? And I don't think it sucks, but it just wasn't as good. And then they came out with that EP that was like a concept album. And I didn't really like, and I loved You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To. So it's like, okay, and I don't know. Some albums just hit. Some of them just, I don't know.
Yeah. You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To is like banger after banger.
So good.
And there's we've been talking about these new metalcore bands. Like I've been listening to all these new bands that we've listed, and it's like I listen to a song and I could listen to it over and over. I like it. I come back to it. I add it to playlists. And then I go to the next band. I like, oh, this is so good, so good. And then you like put on this album you're excited for, and you're just like, skip. Like halfway through. Yeah. So I don't know. That's my take on it. But yes, you Attack of the Clone syndrome. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. Boundaries has a new single out that came out today, Skies Cast Amber Black. So they released the music video and the track today, announcing that they had signed with Sumerian Records. So, I love Boundaries. But like Boundaries track record has been pretty up and down for me. Like the stuff that I love it so much. And the stuff that I wasn't really into just like really fell flat for me. So like same thing, they've got, they have an album out there. I can't remember the name of it, but it just like didn't really do much for me. But then right after that, they came out with Death is Little More. I was like, this is a perfect album. This album, for me is great. So this one that dropped, I was just like, it's good, but I wasn't same deal. I was so excited about it. And then I got to the end of it and I was like, but they still, I still love Boundaries. They still, I don't, almost like can do no wrong kind of a thing. I love their sound. So we'll see where they go with Sumerian Records. And then This Is Hell dropped another single today as well, and that called Born Suspicious. We watched those guys at the Furnace Fest pre-show. So kind of more,
right.
Yeah, This Is Hell, kind of more of that like Southern hardcore. So like Norma Jean, He Is Legend kind of a sound, like old Every Time I Die kind of a sound, like raucous, heavier, like Southern punk hardcore kind of a sound. So, and I think they're coming out with a new album soon too.
Did you see this is brand new, but did you see the new Haste the Day? Like they're putting out a new album. I think they're starting to put out some new stuff and they're going on tour.
I did. Yeah. They're just stopping by the Nile actually here in Mesa.
Sweet.
I did see that. So yeah, and I never really got into Haste the Day very much. Okay. Like I know like there, I know there was like one song that, was pretty popular, but I never, for whatever reason, they kind of like I just kind of missed them. But
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But yeah, this, switching gears into like, talking about dad stuff. You kind of came up with this, for, this episode. And I really like this idea. This really, like, I was really thinking through a lot of this, after you posted some of this stuff here.
Cool. Yeah. I'll kick it off. So I was thinking this week, and it's one of those stuff. It's like, man, how like real and open do I want to be on this like, internet podcast, right? But a lot of times, guys our age, we start joking around about like this midlife crisis, right? Yeah. Or even this like identity crisis. And I think I see that at when we go to shows, when you listen to this music, this idea of like you look around and most of the people there are younger than you.
Yeah.
And, and then you kind of are around your peers, at least I know around my peers, and they're not wearing band tees. They're wearing polos and blazers and talking about mowing the lawn last weekend. And so you kind of get into this, like stuck in this. I saw this described somewhere as you're like young enough to still enjoy those things, but you're old enough where you're kind of like on the other side. So we're like stuck in this midlife of like, man, like what do I want my life to look like? And it's just this, it's also this weird thing where it's like, I'm in a spot now where I have the money to afford the concerts I couldn't go to when I was younger.
Yes.
And then like, but not having the time for it. And it's just kind of like a weird phase of life in this, late 30s fatherhood.
Yeah.
Hardcore moshing dad period of like, man, like who am I? What am I doing here?
Yeah, it is. I remember like the time that, I was feeling like that for a while, but I remember a couple of years ago, I saw Blink 182 and they were singing like one of their newer songs. There's a line in one of their songs which says, "Now I'm going to work like a typical jerk." And I was just like, oh, that's my life, bro. Because when you grow up listening to this music, punk, hardcore, metal, whatever it is, it's so like anti-culture, or it's like anti, growing up, rebel against authority.
Yeah.
Your parents are lame and boring. And now it's like, it's such a weird, I had a moment when I was at that Bane show a few weeks back. I was like, it was a Sunday night and all of a sudden like I'm sweating, I'm tired, I've been hardcore dancing all night and I'm like, I gotta work tomorrow, man. This sucks. And it is. And like you mentioned, like I go to my kids football games.
Yeah.
And I'm meeting all the other dads, and yeah, these guys just got off, like their corporate, and I've got corporate calls too and stuff like that I got to be on, but these guys
Totally.
just left the office. Their shirts are still tucked in, iron pressed. They've got, like they've got the not Lululemon, but it's like, they've got the whatever is cool, like the casual dad. It's like,
right.
I go to the gym sometimes kind of a thing. And I'm like, I've just got, my shirt says, I don't care that you hate yourself. I'm like, bro, I'm 37. What am I doing with my life? And I asked my kids and my wife, I'm like, do I need to grow up? Do I need to and they're all, she's like, no. She's like, don't worry about that. But I do get it, man. Like, we are in the adult stage of life now. And like so much of what we do is like, I don't know. It's like being a teenager. It's like we act like teenagers again when we go to these shows. It is a weird balance for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And, when I wrote this topic down, I started thinking about it. I kind of came to this conclusion of, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get on here, we're like, oh, here's the problem, here's the solution, but I'm like, man, this is something just actively dealing with or trying to work out. And I think one thing that I kind of found when I was like digging around and trying to research is it's like almost redefining what being hardcore is. And you talked about this a little bit, or like redefining what, like, not being edgy, but like, being like hardcore and like the shows is like, man, like it is way easier to do these things and be irresponsible when you have no responsibilities at home.
Yes.
But like, how much more hardcore is it to do these things when you have 3 kids at home to feed?
100%.
How much more hardcore is it to like take care of yourself mentally when you've got to pay the mortgage and get these kids through school and get them to everything, and just kind of like redefining even in your mind, like what it looks like to be hardcore.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I remember seeing a post. This is kind of more like about, working out and going to the gym and stuff like that. Like, it was a post that's like, don't look at like the single 20-year-old that's at the gym every single day who has zero responsibilities in her life. Don't compare yourself to them. They aren't doing anything that's nearly as tough as you are. Like, as a dad, or I think, or as a wife, as like a parent, as a spouse, as someone with a full-time job, people to take care of, and then still making time for yourself to be healthy. It's like, that's so much harder. And I think, you're right. It is. It's like, right, what was punk for so long was to rebel against, like, the American dream, having a mortgage, buying a house, getting a regular job. But now it's like, how can you still be part of this scene and be a responsible person? And I don't know. And it's, I don't know how deep we want to get into this. I have like these theories too about the nostalgia generation, right? Like our generation, the millennials, everything is just like, oh, remember cassettes, remember enhanced CDs. I mean, we go back to like, what things were like so much. But I think, the good old days. But I think like so much of what being an adult was portrayed as is so different. It never turned out like that for us, I think, as millennials. I think for a long time, it was pretty set in stone. That's like, you could become an adult, you could go to college, or you could just get a blue collar job right off the bat. You can afford a house, you can retire. You're good. That's not really the case anymore. Like, in a lot of ways, I think a lot of this has been taken away from our generation, then obviously like the generations after us. You can't just go get any blue collar job and afford to live places. Certainly can't. Most people can't afford to like retire or anything like that. And so it's like, okay, well, cool. If you're taking that away from us, then we're still going to act like kids. It's like, at the very least, if we're not getting this, so I mean, and I feel very, grateful to be able to have those things, but it's, I don't know. It is a weird thing. I think you're right. I think it is hardcore to like still be true to this scene and love this music and love like everything about it and love going to shows. But then it's like, you're grown up enough to like drag yourself out of bed the next day and go to that, 9 a.m. meeting or whatever it is that you have. And, I don't know. There's been meetings where it's like, I've got my shirt buttoned up because I'm talking to the CEO of like some big tech company, but like, I've got shorts on underneath with like all these, with like these stupid tattoos on my legs and stuff like that. So I don't know. And I think that's funny too, because like a lot of people, I think are surprised sometimes when they like meet me in person. They're like, oh, it's not what, I would expect, but it's like, I don't know. We're living that in between world of, the alternative music scene, but also, just, the American dream kind of a thing.
Man, I don't know about you, but my version my version of hell is like driving a minivan with like a polo on and like one of those sweaters tied around my neck. Shoot me in the head. Put me out of my misery. I know.
And what's really sad too, and this is like, I know dads that used to go to shows with me, and then like they got married and their wife didn't like that music, and maybe it's the other way around. Maybe there's like wives out there, it's like their husbands like don't like that music, don't like that they're into it. And then it's like they just kind of go along with that and they don't go to shows anymore. And that's fine. Like, I'm not here to judge anybody, but I don't know. I think all that to say, I am definitely grateful for the wife that I have too, that like she'll roll her eyes, but then be like, go to your stupid show. Like where the other day, I was just like, I feel like I need to get my hands tattooed. Is that okay? She's like, I don't care. Like what? She's like at this, kind of a thing. So that's part of it too. I think we mosh, we can be dads who mosh because we have, we've got a really great support system at home too. So, but
absolutely. Shout out wives who don't.
That's
mosh.
right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Madison said that, right? Or like hashtag wives who don't mosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. No, it is, and it's I don't know. It's a weird time to be an adult right now, honestly. Especially and I know like past generations, obviously, like there's been world wars and Vietnam and the Great Depression and all these horrible things that have happened. But man, we've been through it as millennials. Like we have been, we've been through a lot, and I don't know. I think part of it too is maybe we're in this day and age where it's like, we're real, especially as dads. Dads used to just be like, you go to work, you come home, you're stoic, you don't have emotions, you don't have feelings, you don't deal with that stuff. Your job is to make money for the family, kind of a thing. And I think finally, like we're allowing ourselves to have like some sort of therapy and take care of ourselves and do things for ourselves, because our wives and our kids are realizing it's better this way anyways. Like you can be the best version of yourself when you do that. And so that has different shapes and forms. Some guys, like my brother, he loves fishing and he loves hunting. That's how he gets through. Like that's his hardcore show, is he goes fishing or he goes hunting, and then he can come home and, be a better dad. And I'm not, I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, you got to let me do this or else, I'm not going to be happy. Like you don't want to do that. But I think if you have that good balance, it's, I don't know, it makes things better. But it is,
absolutely.
I will always be the guy that shows up for parent teacher conferences and will look down and be like, oh, whoops. Like, I don't think I have anything that's like too crazy anymore, but it's like, oh, there's like a dead guy on my shirt. Like, sorry.
Cattle decapitation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, no, that's
No,
that's
good.
a good one.
We could talk for hours about that, honestly, but
I think so.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we're running a little long here.
We are.
So
look at us.
Let's jump into my very favorite segment every week, our Dads Who Mosh Spotify playlist, which is shaping out just beautifully so far.
Yep.
So, all right, let me jump in here. I'm breaking the trend a little bit. I'm going with,
I love it,
a brand new song. This song lives rent free in my head.
Yes.
I cannot stop listening to it. I can't stop playing it. Every time I get in my truck, it's the first song I play. I just, and this song has everything. It's got the samples that, you just throw in a sample in there. It's got breakdowns. It's got highs, lows. I've mentioned these guys before. They're my very favorite right now. Ends in Tragedy from Australia. The song is Beg for the Blood. Just stop what you're doing. Go listen to it right now. It's so good.
Yeah.
I even did this like deep dive on them. We usually do that about our new bands, but I listened to them on a podcast. They were on this Australian hardcore podcast, similar to what we do.
Yeah.
And they were on there. these kids are all like 19 years old, and
So
they just
wild.
love metalcore. They love Parkway Drive because that's their major influence from Australia,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's so funny because the host, who's our age, was talking to him, and he's saying, "Oh, my favorite album came out in 2005. How old were you guys?" And they all look at each other, and like the lead singer's like -1 years old, you know?
So crazy.
I don't know. I couldn't imagine like that being a historical album that you've just, you've heard about.
Yeah.
Just so, I don't, but that song too, all their songs, but Beg for the Blood's got to go on the playlist. I love it.
It's there. Love it.
What about you? What do you got?
I keep going back and forth. I have like at the beginning of the week, I'm like, this is the song I'm going to add.
Yeah.
And then this week I was driving around and I had this moment of realization, which probably comes as no surprise if anyone's listening or to you, because I talk about this band a lot. I think I realized this week that Bane has got to be one of my favorite bands of all time. I think Bane embodies the spirit of hardcore. Yeah. I love that Bane champions younger bands. Bane has been around for decades now, and they still just, it's like DIY feel. They're playing smaller venues. That's what they love to do. They're not out here to like make a bunch of money, play these giant venues, have huge crowds. They love hardcore. They love the scene that they grew up in. And now they're like, supporting these younger bands. And the song that I added from Bane this week is My Therapy. It's just, that whole song is all about the freedom that we find in the hardcore scene, what it's like to, it's like, you can't explain it to people, right? Like I try to, people are like, oh, that music sounds so angry. How can you listen to it? It's like, I can't explain. If you don't get it, you're not going to get it. But I think, right? like going back to this whole almost like imposter syndrome, you and I, we're sitting in like, these Zoom meetings and talking to people that are running these big companies. And, it's like all these guys that have no idea, like the music that we like to listen to. And we kind of have to like put on our happy face, our responsible face. And it's like nobody understands it, but then you can shut the computer or whatever, leave the office, go to a hardcore show. No one's going to be like, what's that shirt? Stuff like that. No one's going to be, everyone understands it. And that's what this song, My Therapy, is all about by Bane. I love this song so much. I love this band. So yeah, My Therapy by Bane is going on the Dads Who Mosh playlist this week.
It's a great addition. I love all the Instagram kind of joke reels where they say, oh, yeah, here's my therapy, or I'm saving hundreds of dollars by this being my therapy.
Yes.
And it's so true.
Yep.
We've mentioned it already in this show. I'm itching. I need to go out. I need to go, jump around and get sweaty and swing around and just get that energy out.
Yep. I know. At this point, man, in life, it's like the gym, shows, and Diet Coke. Like that's what's getting me through everything in life. So
White Monsters.
Yeah, White Monsters. So I've cut back on the monsters a little bit, but yeah. But a White Monster actually sounds really good right now.
It does.
But yeah, upcoming shows still March 25th. So in 5 days. Again, shout out, if anybody, this will come out on Monday, and so there'll be a couple days. That'll be Monday, whatever. That'll be the 23rd. So a couple of days. If anyone is in the Arizona area, wants to come hang out at the Nile, like I said, I'll be bringing a buddy along, at least one, maybe a couple, but one, it'll be his first time. So that'll be fun. Well, I'll have to check back in maybe next week. I'll report back on how it went for him and what his thoughts were. So.
Absolutely, that'd be great. Yeah. I've got nothing until April, so I'm just I'm like Kermit the Frog looking out the window at the rain, just counting down the days, just sad and lonely. But
I wish there was a hardcore show soon.
You did that so good. That was awesome.
Thank you. I've been waiting for the perfect moment to break out my Kermit the Frog impersonation.
Oh, it's so good.
Ugh. Awesome.
Cool.
All right, everybody. Well, we'll catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Peace.